You may know Fresh Patch from Shark Tank, Oprah, or The Today Show. This is the Fresh Patch Podcast, where good pets get it. Sit back, put your paws up, and enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody, to the Fresh Patch Podcast. I am your host, Drew, with my co-host, Mr. Gabe, over to my right for all the viewers. And we have an amazing guest on today, Prairie Conlon. So all the viewers, listeners, welcome, Prairie. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here and talk about dogs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, as we are too. You know,
We love talking about dogs,
we
so.
love talking about the dogs. So, before we get started, just want to let everyone know: hit that subscribe button if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, follow at Fresh Patch on all social media. Check out freshpatch.com for all your real grass potty needs. And Prairie, if you wouldn't mind shouting out some of your socials or website and everything, we'll give you that chance right now.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Emotional support animals, service dog experts, you're looking for those, go to certapet.com. You can find me on journeyswithprairie.com. Yeah, that's where you can see us.
There you go. So for everyone listening, check it out if you have any interest in that. And you're going to learn a lot today. So let's just dive right into these questions and get started. Gabe, you want to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about things that maybe first time pet owners like overlook right from day one. So first question here. What are the top 3 things that new pet owners underestimate when bringing home a puppy?
So kind of a little background on how I assess that as a mental health clinician when I'm looking at an emotional support animal or a service dog as part of somebody's treatment plan. I'm going to go through and assess those exact things. Like, are you prepared for this? Because puppies are a lot of work. I call them tiny dinosaurs. They're a lot. Just little raptors running around. You've got to watch all of your stuff. You have to puppy proof. It's a little dinosaur toddler running around. So I'm always assessing with clients. All right, where are we at? As far as space goes, what is your environment? Do you have a yard? Because if you don't have a yard, that's going to quadruple your work for you. You're going to have to be scheduling. How am I going to be able to take this puppy out? If you're working, how am I going to get home to let the puppy out? So accommodating that puppy, because we don't want to stick him in a crate for 8 hours. If I have a client that's like, that's what I'm planning on, like, you know what, this isn't a good fit right now. It might be something that would help you, but we also want to think about the animal also. And so there's a lot of different things, environment, talking to them about finances. Puppies cost a lot.
Oh yeah. That's
Right. And always not just putting out, oh, here's like a budget for food and the basic vet and this and that. You need to have a contingency. I always tell everybody double what you thought, because they're puppies. They're going to eat things that they shouldn't eat. They're going to, they're going to be all over the place. So we talk about finances. And then we talk about just general time and understanding, do you have like the additional time, the money, the attention to give to an animal? And is that going to cause additional stressors? So do you have that available? And on top of that, will that cause you additional stressors? If so, let's look at something different. So those are kind of the things as a clinician when I'm working with people that I like people to think about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's really cool that you kind of compare owning a puppy to like owning a toddler, because it kind of is like that. Like it can like take over your whole life, and a lot of people aren't expecting it. And I know it's kind of, a thing that people like impulse buy dogs and
Mm-hmm.
pets in general. And yeah, so it's like definitely really cool that you're like shining a light on these sort of things that people like often don't really think about when they're getting a dog. To follow up on that a little bit, I want to ask a little bit about potty training and like bathroom routines. How important is establishing a bathroom routine early, and what happens when that foundation is shaky, like once they get out of puppyhood?
Yeah. So Disclaimer, again, I'm a mental health therapist that I use animal assisted therapy. So I'm not the animal expert, but I work with it enough that, when I'm working with people and they're planning on getting a new puppy versus adopting an older dog, that's, again, it just really is, do you have the right place? Do you have the amount of time to do it? Because if you don't get started right away, in my experience, my personal experience, my professional experience, you're going to have a handful for the rest of your life. I mean, and these dogs, we're planning hopefully on having our animals 10 plus years. And so do you want to deal with that? No, it's one of them things. It's like, I say to my clients, buckle up for 3 months solid, just like, this is what we're going to do. You have to be consistent. Otherwise, for 10 years, that's what it's going to look like. You're going to have pee in places. You're going to, you're going to be cleaning up. So as much as that, and that's, again, another piece of that assessment. Do you have time to really buckle up with this puppy? They're going to chew on everything. They're going to pee on everything. They are going to need you to basically follow them around, but it's necessary. Otherwise, then this is what you're dealing with for 10 years. So buckle up, get ready. Please plan to have a puppy.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, beyond potty training, just training in general is like a huge undertaking, and it is really important part of the process. So, definitely, I agree. Something to consider there.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people just overlook. They just look at the fun side of having the dog, and they totally overlook everything else, which is, just not the traits you want to have. And buckle up, like you said, because those, I mean, we've met our fair share of puppies, and working here at Fresh Patch and hearing the customer feedback and stuff, and it's like, hey, and we get almost complaints like, hey, your product doesn't work, and it's like, how much did you try? And they're like, oh, just like once or twice, and it's like, hey, we need a lot more commitment from you, because it's even with our product that's not going to work. You know what I mean? So
totally,
100%. Consistency is key.
Yep.
Totally. And not to discourage anybody from getting a puppy. Like, puppies are amazing, and if you have the time and capacity to like train one and handle one, like it's a great process, at the end of the day. But just definitely understand there are things to prepare for.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So moving on from the top 3 things and everything, wanted to kind of dive into the ESA side of things and pet ownership. So ESA versus pet ownership, what clinically distinguishes an emotional support animal from a regular pet, and who is a good candidate for an ESA letter?
For sure. Well, again, I'm going to just throw it out there before I get into it that I think all animals, play some part in emotional support.
Oh yeah.
So whether or not you need that clinical letter, because an emotional support animal, the legal aspect is that they are prescribed for somebody that is in a HOA situation or a rental situation. The only place an emotional support animal is legal is between a landlord and a tenant. So that helps with, like pet rent, pet fees, stuff like that. So if you own your own home, you're not going to need an emotional support animal letter. Does that mean your animal doesn't provide emotional support? Absolutely not. So there's that aspect of it. But as far as legally having an emotional support animal, you need to talk to your doctor or your therapist that you're working with about getting an emotional support animal, adding it to your treatment plan, because an emotional support animal should be part of a treatment plan. A lot of doctors and therapists won't write the letters. A lot of people that come to CertaPet are generally people that have a treatment plan in place, but they're finding that their doctors and therapists can't write the letters just because there is specific training that does need to go in behind that. There's not only understanding how to do a clinical evaluation, because it's different than evaluating for, medications or different types of therapies. So there's that aspect of training, but there's also the legal side. You want your doctors and therapists, if they're writing a letter that invokes federal law, you want them to know what that federal law is.
Yeah.
So making sure you're working with a doctor or therapist that knows that. And if that's not available, CertaPet, I personally have worked with all the therapists and doctors there. They are fully trained on the legal and the clinical piece of that. So, we can absolutely get you taken care of there.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
No,
awesome.
that's definitely good to, I mean, that's very good points because I wouldn't even think of that too, when it comes to the legalities and stuff like that, making sure everyone knows what they're doing. That's obviously very important. So, yeah, that's
Mhm.
great information. And I feel like you touched on this maybe a little bit, but the next question was how has the ESA conversation shifted culturally, and what misconceptions do you still hear most often?
Yeah, I mean, it's 10 years ago from today. It's still a little bit of the Wild West, but 10 years ago, it was just the Wild West. It was like, your ophthalmologist could write you an ESA letter, and it's like, huh? Okay.
That doesn't add up.
I'll
They
get
even
some
had that
glasses.
written in the federal law that your ophthalmologist can write you an ESA letter, and you can have a kangaroo. The word kangaroo was literally in there.
Wow.
No, I don't want none of that. I don't
Yeah.
want any of that. But yeah, so it's changed a lot. People are starting to see that emotional support animals and service animals are very valid. They are a huge piece of people's mental health. I've seen animals save lives. We've
Yeah.
seen it
Wow.
just, I mean, they create a reason, they create purpose.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so I think it's recognized more, but unfortunately, there's still problems with regulation. So we have a lot of companies that either have been bad actors in this in the ESA world, that you can go and you can probably find somebody that costs less than CertaPet, or some of the places that cost more. But if you are going and you are putting information into a website and they are giving you a letter and that's it, you don't have a valid letter. You're in a situation where you could get in trouble with your landlord.
Ooh.
And
Wow.
that's where, as CertaPet, we're really trying to advocate for vetting of companies, because
Mhm.
who's going to actually get punished when they use a bad company? The client.
Yeah.
That's not, how are they supposed to know? That's not fair.
Yeah.
And so I think there should be a vetting of companies that says this is what a clinical evaluation for an emotional support animal looks like. This is what an evaluation for a service animal looks like. There should be clinical standards. We're very heavy in pushing that, very heavy into training. And hopefully that will be something that changes in the future. But right now, there's a lot of what we call pop-up companies where we'll hear clients go, oh, I got an ESA letter from this place and now they don't exist anymore. Yep, they took your money and ran.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's and they're like, oh, you can go on to Amazon. I'm one of those that I submit complaints to Amazon, and they're like, for $39.99, you can get an ESA certificate.
Wow.
What?
That's
Yeah. Wait
It's
a
a
minute.
certificate. And it's like, it's not a certificate. It is a legal prescription clinical recommendation from your therapist. It looks like a letter. It's saying this is what they need. So yeah,
Wow.
be very careful in looking for ESA letters. Again, I always tell people, first try your own doctor or therapist. If that doesn't work, go to CertaPet. CertaPet, we work with your current doctors and therapists. And then if you don't have insurance or you've never worked with the doctor or therapist before, we can get you started on a treatment plan. It's a comprehensive mental health evaluation. And so we're looking at, overall mental health.
Yeah, and what does that process look like? Of like,
Yeah, so you can go to CertaPet. There's a pre-screening there. The pre-screening is, it's what it is. There's that business piece of getting people in, and it kind of talks a little. It shows this is what it is. It does a pretty good job though of vetting people out by when people are like, oh, they're serious versus I'll never forget, like it was like 5 or 6 years ago, I had a client come through and say, how much of this is wink, wink, nudge, nudge? I'm like, all right, that's not good.
You're out.
Definitely not a candidate.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
I'm
that
sure
the
that person
pre-screening
got
didn't get him through.
yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say, I'm sure that
I
person got an Amazon certificate,
Yeah.
oh, 100% got their Amazon ESA. Good grief, for Timu ESA. There you go.
Oh gosh, yeah,
But
that's the one. Yeah, the team.
Oh.
yeah. So the pre-screening, generally people kind of go, okay, I think these people are serious. When you actually then go, okay, you might be a good candidate, it will explain that is determined by your therapist. So then you go in and you purchase an assessment. You're not purchasing, we're purchasing assessments. And so they go in, they fill out the clinical assessment intake paperwork. You've been to a doctor's office, the intake paperwork is a lot. And honestly, that's what it looks like. If it's legal, that's what it looks like. There's about 80 some questions. They're not yes, no questions. They are, fill it out. We have the PHQ-9, the GAD set. We have all the clinical measures in there. So they fill that out, they click submit, and then it goes into a queue where we have doctors and therapists in all 50 states. And when we have, when they see, oh, there's somebody available, the therapist will click them in their queue. So then an email is triggered to the client. You've been assigned. Generally within, even less than 12 hours, the therapist is already saying, here's my scheduling link. Let's schedule our appointment. So by the time that appointment's scheduled, we've read through their assessment. We're ready to have a discussion about additionally what else we need to know, setting up treatment plan or coming alongside an existing treatment plan, which is really about half and half. We're really excited about people that start their mental health journey with us. And then there's also, people that are like, my doctor or therapist couldn't write the letter. So could you help me? And we come alongside that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And we do a pretty good job, I think, sorting people out, because if people are really that kind of, the wink, wink, nudge, nudge guy, they're not going to fill out the 80 some questions. And I was already kind of going, with this person, because it was like, NA, non-applicable, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what the process looks like. If you are approved, you're not only getting your ESA letter, you're getting your treatment plan, to come alongside, or a brand new treatment plan. You're getting recommendations. You have access to your therapist all year long. There was a company that we were just vetting to see how they did things, and they literally sent something that said, do you want to talk? And we wanted to see what they would say. No. Okay, well, I've diagnosed you with anxiety. What? Wow. And they also said, we're protecting the therapist's privacy, so you can't have their email address or their phone number.
Oh my God.
Huge red flags.
Yeah.
My clients, I'm going to send my make sure you're saving my phone number. Here's my email address. I'm going to email you throughout the year. I'm going to check in throughout the year, but you can always reach out. That's, big red flags there if people are looking for any services like that.
Yeah, totally. Especially as like a mental or like a mental health, clinical kind of, professional. You want to be there for your clients. That's kind of a big part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, that calls into question, who's working for these companies and is okay with that, which is scary. There's bad actors everywhere in every profession. It's just unfortunate that this is in one too, where people don't know better and they're getting in trouble with their landlord. You can get evicted because of your animal. Absolutely. And that's awful. And, the moral compass of these companies too, like, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Apparently, but
yeah, apparently so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. I want to dive a little bit deeper into like some of maybe the emotional benefits of pet ownership. Sure. So from more of like a clinical standpoint, what does the research say about how pets reduce stress, anxiety, loneliness, things like that?
For sure. Yeah. The research, can even get really scientific with the oxytocin, which is that feel good cuddle hormone, the dopamine, all those neurotransmitters that, if you looked at how much medication, how much Xanax it would take you to get your brain waves to settle the way they do from petting your animal for 15 minutes, trying to replicate that with medication, you would kill somebody. Wow. Because it's so heavy and impactful, and trying to replicate that feel good, like it's like medically not possible. So some really cool statistics over that stuff. It helps with sleep. There's a lot of people that are like, I've taken everything under the sun, but then my cat purring next to me, my dog, just the warmth of them, just makes a huge difference, so there's a lot of really cool stuff about lowering of blood pressure and cortisol levels, which is amazing. And so, yeah, there are a lot of benefits. And then the ones that are more anecdotal, where I can't just lock down a number for you, but is just huge, is, depressive symptoms. That's a reason to get up.
Yeah.
You have to get up. I mean, there's no better alarm clock than a dog.
Oh yeah.
Except a dog about to throw up. That one's a better alarm clock.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man, I've been there before.
Quick. Yeah, when you hear that yakking sound, it's like, oh, I'm really there's no snooze button on that one.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, that's funny.
That's good.
Yeah, but no, it gets people up that might struggle with getting up. I've seen it just change lives. So
yeah, that's amazing. And I do appreciate like the anecdotal kind of evidence as well. Like I think that's really important. Obviously, like you've been doing this for a long time, so you've personally seen how this can help someone. So that's really cool to hear. Kind of going off the last question, I wanted to ask like if there are, in your experience, if you've seen like specific populations, as in like people who struggle with depression or PTSD, who maybe would benefit like the most.
Yeah, so it's hard to say like who would benefit the most. I would say trauma, and animals. It just regulates people. They're animal. Like, I mean, they can have a wonderful human in their life and a great support system, but animals provide a different type of support. We don't have to put a mask on, and no matter what, we just do that with you. You generally are going to kind of monitor what you're saying. You're going to monitor what you're doing. People aren't masking with their animals. Their animals are unconditional. People are not unconditional. They're just not. We can't be. And an animal can. And I think that really appeals to just the humanity in us, is just that innocence and that unconditionalness that needs us. And so, I would say where I've seen it be the biggest help, I think it helps everywhere, but trauma.
Totally. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. I mean, I know when I have a bad day, like going home to my dog is like, just makes everything better, like you said. So,
yeah. No, I think, I would put depression closely after that, just because, again, it requires that routine, that accountability to them. And when you are taking care of your animal, it's really interesting to watch, how that in turn, they start taking care of themselves, because in order to take care of your animal, you have to take care of yourself. And so I see that help a lot, but I would put trauma right at the top.
Got it.
Gotcha. Yeah. I feel like that kind of leads us right into the next question and stuff. And you kind of already touched on this, but pets as a daily anchor, how caring for a pet quietly structures your own life. And our first question was, how does having a pet create a sense of daily purpose, especially for people who struggle with motivation or depression?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you use the word anchor. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's a strange thing how, and that's where I think I hear a lot of people say stuff like, well, I know it's just a dog, and I've got a great family and everything, but there is a different aspect to that. It appeals to a different part of our brain. And there's the innocence to an animal. So first of all, I just want to tell anybody listening to not feel guilty about the crazy good relationship you have with your animal. Again, it probably helps you have better relationships with the other people that you have.
Oh, yeah.
So so many people talk about that all the time. Like, oh, I know this sounds crazy, or I know this sounds stupid. No, it doesn't. If it's making you a better human and it's making you a better person and having better relationships, excellent. That's wonderful,
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I think there's just something about the innocence of the animal, the nonverbal piece to it, where you have to actually kind of get out of your own brain, and they are communicating with you and asking you to, take care of them.
Yeah.
And I think there's just a lot to that as far as motivation goes. And as far as, and of course, especially with the dogs, and man, I am seeing a lot more people that have cats that walk on leashes. Mine would murder me for that. But,
Yeah.
I mean, pun intended, he goes completely catatonic, flies on the side. Like I just, but getting outside for 15 minutes, I don't care. I tell everybody, and that's why I love animals. I love my clients that have animals, because I'm like, go outside more. Your dog's never going to be upset at you about that.
Oh, heck
They're
no.
never going to, you're never going to regret that. There is a lot to be said about fresh air and vitamin D. It is absolutely going to help the homeostasis of the neurotransmitters you have going up there in your head.
Totally.
100%.
Yeah. And there's something about that happiness that you see on a dog when you're getting ready to take them on a walk, and it makes you happy. So there's definitely
Oh
some
yeah. And that's a big thing I use in therapy too, is that
Yeah.
mindfulness and being in the moment. When you see your animal doing that, mirror it back to them. That is the biggest gift you can ever give your animal.
Yes.
Your dog's like, oh, this is the best day ever. I mean, did you ever see the cat diary versus the dog diary? Have you ever seen that?
No.
Kind of it. The cat was, the dog's like, oh, we're waking up. It's the best thing ever. And now I'm going to get my treats, and it's the best thing ever. And my mom's filling my water bowl. It's the best thing ever. Now we're going to go on a walk. It's the best. And that's their daily dog diet. Well, the cat was really funny. It was like day 316 of my captors. And they're, which was perfect.
Oh my God, that's so
I have both, and I'm like, I see that.
That is so good.
But yeah, is using that attitude that the dogs have for that daily mindfulness.
Yeah.
And meeting them where they're at, and I get people too, they're like, oh, well, I'm really worried because my dog's getting older.
Yeah.
Again, they're not worried about it.
No.
Meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
Meet your dog where they're at. They're not worried about tomorrow. They're not worried about the mistakes they made yesterday. Yeah. Meet them where they're at. And when they're like, oh my gosh, there's a squirrel. It's my favorite thing. And I'm going to sniff on this rock, and it's my favorite thing. Be there with them. Be there with them. They are the best teachers of gratitude and being in the moment.
Absolutely. Well put.
Yeah, that's amazing. And going back to like the motivation side of it too, that you were kind of, oh, there goes Oakley. He's done. But it's just, what Gabe said, like seeing the joy on them before the walk, but for me, it's seeing the joy on them after the walk too. And it's like, and just that motivation, like, yeah, you might struggle, and I have this trait too, where it's just like, I don't really want to go out right now, but then I always tell myself, I'm like, what's 15 minutes? 15 minutes for me is the whole world to them, at least just that time frame. And then once you do it and you see the joy or the relaxation they get afterwards, it's like, all right, that was rewarding. I'm glad I did that. Look how happy they are now just for 15 minutes. And like, that's nothing to us. You know what I mean? But everything to them. Right? So, oh, he's back. Yeah. I know you don't see him on the camera. No, you can't take my clipboard, sir. He's trying to take my clipboard. I don't know if Corey, you want to turn the laptop, but so you can see he's trying to, Mr. Oakley's.
I thought Oakley was the boss, so can he have it?
Yeah, he can. Let me just read my. We'll just ask the next question, then you can have it. Can you talk about the idea that taking care of your pet is also a form of taking care of yourself? I feel like we might have touched on it a little bit more, but
but I mean, just to reiterate, it's one of those things, we always hear that cliche expression, you have to put your mask on in an airplane that's crashing before you put it on somebody else. You cannot take care of somebody else if you're not okay. And, that, I think it's amazing to me how an animal can encourage us and motivate us to take care of ourselves better. I hear all the time, you know, and of course, as a therapist, there's pieces to that. And I'm like, well, we need to build the support system a little bit more. But like that self-care piece of, I work hard so that my animal can have a better life. And I like that. And that's something to build on though. So absolutely.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny you've brought it up a couple times, but the dog needing to feed the dog, him asking to be feed, like getting you out of bed, that really like that's something that I have 100% experienced. And I never had thought of it that way, but that's really,
Mm-hmm.
really cool. And
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's not just people with depression that have experienced that, you know, those days where you just want to bed rot,
yeah.
right?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, everybody's experienced that. I don't care if you've got clinically diagnosed depression or not. There's days like, I don't have to do anything. Why would I get up? And, you know, that it's scary how that can turn into, and next thing you know, it's like, oh my gosh, it's 1 o'clock. So
Hmm.
having the animals, it's just an excellent way to motivate yourself, you know?
For sure. Yeah, no, definitely. It's almost like they're hurting you a little bit, you know, and they're like it's goes back into their taking care of you in a sense. Like, yeah, it's really,
Mhm.
really interesting and like kind of a cool way to, change the way that you think about those sort of things. Um,
I'm getting hurted over here right now.
yeah, like
I'm just
he's
getting
legitimately
bombarded. This is
I've noticed, just give him the
I
clipboard.
know. He started chewing on the metal though, so I didn't want him to get
Oh,
yeah.
because
yeah.
he'll rip it right
Yeah.
off,
Mm.
so
Yeah,
here,
he's
so
pretty
So
destructive.
I
We try to
petition that Oakley gets his own doggy clipboard.
what I
I
will
know we need to invest in that.
What I will tell you is we just got some new little nightstands here for our little podcast studio. And while I was putting them together, I left the room for a second and I came back and like one of these like wooden boards was absolutely chewed to shreds. And I was like, as like such a funny thing for like, a dog to,
They're
Yeah.
quick.
they
Yes, they
Again,
are.
so
toddler,
quick.
a toddler, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, it got quiet in the other room. Why is it quiet in there? That's
Uh-huh.
bad.
Oh, that's funny. So I want to go back to you. You were talking about going outside with your dog and how beneficial and
Mhm.
important that is. Um, so you kind of already talked about this, but just to like retouch on it again, what does going outside with your pet do for your mental health, that indoor time just can't simply can't replicate?
Could you repeat the last part of that? You said
Yeah, yeah,
in.
sorry. What does going outside with your pet do for your mental health that being inside with them can't replicate?
Yeah, again, that's fresh air. I mean, that's as simple as fresh air. You're getting your blood pumping.
Oh yeah.
You know, a lot of times there's sure you could make the argument that maybe you're getting a little movement inside, but walking, that aerobic, walking, getting the blood pumping, all of those things, they increase those natural neurotransmitters that we need that help
Mhm.
us feel good. That your antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications are trying to supplement. Those are being reproduced naturally when you are walking, when you're getting vitamin D, when you are pumping good oxygen
Oh
into
yeah.
your body. So yeah,
Oh
absolutely that.
yeah, that makes tons of sense. And it's great to have that little inspiration to, force yourself to get outside, have a reason to kind of get out on days where you normally wouldn't. So that's really
Mm-hmm.
cool. Now not everyone can it's not as easy to get outside for everyone as it is for others.
Sure,
And I'm
sure.
sure like in your experience you've worked with people who are maybe have limited mobility or live in an apartment where they have to go down a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of stairs and that sort of stuff. So, what advice would you give to people in that situation to help them like maximize that or outdoor time, even if it's like in smaller doses?
Yeah, I mean, again, do as much as you can, but obviously there are, situations that, there's limited mobility on the pet's part. There's limited mobility on the people's part, that,
Definitely.
and I think, that's again, as a clinician, when I'm assessing, does an animal play a part in your life to where you could do well with it? I have several clients that have, three-legged dog that they use potty pads. So that was when your product came in. I was like, oh, wow, that is pretty great. Like that would be great, because the three-legged dog is like good for 5 minutes. And then like, I'm good to go back in. I'm pretty good. Like I would like to go back in. And if I don't have to, be drugged downstairs or through an elevator, it's great to have a product like you have past the potty pads, because I've used those before. And I don't know what it is about like why they shred them. Why do they shred those things?
Yep.
I know. So gross.
So,
Yeah, especially when they've been used already and they start shredding them. It's like, come on. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. So, again, I think it's always assessing, the environment, what, you have available. There's a lot of people that like to adopt the senior dogs. And again, doesn't make sense to just be like, let's drag them all over. They have arthritis. They have this or that. Going outside twice a day, like a little in the morning, a little in the evening, but then other times, using a product like yours, I think it makes a ton of sense. It's going to give access to more people. And on top of that, it's really still providing that same benefit, because, you're going to have to clean that still and replenish that for them. You're going to still, give them their food and water, and they're still going to have their routines. So is it still providing the same benefit? Yeah. When it comes down to it, yes. Fresh air is always good. Mm-hmm. Fresh air is always good, but it's not always reasonable for everybody. So definitely. I think, that's, when they approached me and they were telling me about your product, I was like, that is fabulous, just because it opens the door for more people to have things. And it honestly, I've talked about it to clients too, where it's like, well, it's an older dog and I'm looking at this and that. And I was like, oh, you should check that out, because it does make it easier. And that is kind of what we're looking for, that balance, like pros and cons. Should you get an animal? What is this going to look like? So I think, weighing all those things, but yeah, fresh air is always great. Not always reasonable.
Definitely. Just to kind of build on your fresh patch point a little bit. I always like to think, I'm obviously like have no scientific or clinical background at all, but I like to think that having real like natural grass for them to go when maybe like they can't have that all the time, it's not super easily accessible for them. I like to think that that can help like the dog's mental health and like kind of like bring on the dog side. So
yeah. Well, and again, then that helps you. We see them happy. It makes us feel good. And dogs love smells. Like, oh my gosh, my one dog, I'm like, if I go on a walk outside of our yard, I'm going to stop every 5 feet, because we're going to smell things. It's fun to smell things. And like they love grass. They love the fresh, so yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's my dog. We're stopping every 2 feet to smell everything, but most of the time, that's what I tell on walks. I'm just like, hey, you. Obviously, I have the leash, but like, you take me where you want to take me. We have our route, you know what I mean. But if you want to stop and smell this tree for a little longer than you did yesterday, by all means, sir. We're gonna smell this tree a little longer.
I'm always impressed. Like, how do you have anything left?
That's
on everything. Like, how do you have anything left?
No, that's so funny you say that, because Gabe, you know this too with Oakley. It's like we'll walk to Starbucks. It's just like half a mile down from our office, so we'll take Oakley on the walk with us and everything. And by the time we're on our way back, like he's lifting his leg and there's nothing coming out. Like he's just lifting his leg. And I'm like, bro, you got nothing left in the tank. Like, but then he'll do the scoots, you know. He's like, he makes up for it for the scoots, you know. But I'm like, dude, like. Yeah, so that's so funny you bring that up, because I experienced the same thing. I'm like, why are you even trying? But it makes sense.
Yeah. Do what you love. Hey, there's another motto from a dog. Do what you love. Exactly. Lift your leg, even if you got nothing left.
Yeah. Keep lifting. Got to live by that quote right there. That's
a t-shirt.
Yeah. That's great. Cool. So moving on to our next topic, puppies and anxiety, the unexpected therapeutic value of the training process itself. So puppy training can be incredibly frustrating. We all know. How do you reframe that process for owners who are feeling a little overwhelmed?
I love puppies for people with anxiety, because it anxiety is rumination, right?
Mhm.
We're just ruminating. We're taking something that maybe there's some validity to it being a concern, but true anxiety comes from when we take concerns and then they are just blown out of proportion. They're catastrophic in our head and we've thought about it 100 times. That's when a normal concern becomes actual anxiety. So puppies, you know, from the outside, you would think, well, that's going to cause more anxiety, right? I have found it does the opposite 95% of the time. Are there times where it's like, okay, this is too much and somebody's got too much going on? Sure. So I don't want to hear about all the variables, I'm sure people might say. But 95% of the time, anxiety is going to be interrupted. That rumination, that I'm worried about this or this or that is going to be interrupted by the tiny little monster dinosaur you have running around at your feet, nipping at you, trying to bite the electrical cord, trying, dragging the couch cushion off the couch. And it's so interrupted that, and they don't realize it. It's funny. It'll be like somebody that, I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. They just got the puppy. They come back. How's your anxiety? Well, I'm like, well, what have you been thinking about? Well, my puppy did this and blah, blah, blah. And although it might seem like it's an anxiety-based thing, well, I'm afraid they're going to electrocute themselves. So we did this and this and this. And they had to focus on, and then we went to Lowe's and we got these kinds of extension cords and blah, blah, blah. They're pulling their focus away from things that normally cause, those normal habits of the brain. Where it's like, we're going to cycle that and cycle it till you're just driven crazy by it, versus I have just focused all of my energy on this puppy and I didn't even realize that I did it. Like this is like a cognitive behavioral therapy technique we call thought stopping. And you could spend, 12, 15 sessions in here with me and we could try it. And that's basically trying to interrupt those anxiety thoughts. Versus if you have a puppy, the puppy's very much going to interrupt those anxiety thoughts. Oh, yeah. And so it's one of them things like, I don't need to use cognitive behavior therapy on you to reframe that because you're going to be focused on that little thing right there running around the house.
Yeah. I love how you reference them as velociraptors, raptors, dinosaurs. Yes. That's so accurate. I've definitely met my fair share of velociraptor dogs. I think golden retrievers might be the most that's a big when they're a puppy. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I don't know. One of my friends just got a Vizsla puppy.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
That is a tiny dinosaur. And it likes paper for some reason. It took a little bite of toilet paper. Somebody left the bathroom door open and it just goes streaking across the room with it flying behind. I was like, that's like out of a movie. That was so perfect.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
The dog was so proud of itself. Oh, yeah.
See, that's the tough part sometimes. Yeah, they are so proud of themselves. It's like,
yeah.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, this is not the thing to do.
Yeah,
man, you're having fun. Like, that is awesome. Cool. So next, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I saw a video today where, this person's like two dogs were digging holes in their backyard, and it was exactly that. And the dogs were like so excited, like grab their owner and like take him to the hole, and they're like, look what we did. And it's like, how can I be mad at them when they're just showing me their art?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Yes, exactly. They're all artists in their own way. Great. The second question on the puppies and anxiety topic was, is there a therapeutic element to the consistency and patience that training demands from the owner?
Absolutely. There's a lot to be said about the patience that, puppies take. This one can be a little controversial, and this is where I think it's really important with, clinicians that are evaluating people for this. Because if we're looking at different elements of anxiety, there's so many, it's so multifaceted anxiety, all the different, pieces to it. And is there an element there that I'm worried about? Well, there might be some anger management stuff, things like that. I'm going to be really careful about that. I might, completely steer away from it just because, there is that fine line between when you're being patient with something of, okay, now I'm calmed down and I'm going to deal with it versus now I'm going to escalate. And so, yeah. And generally what we do see is, people are like, I noticed that I was starting to elevate, and that did help me with my patients, with settling down, with going, okay, it's just a puppy. It's not their fault. They're just, being
Yep.
a puppy.
Hmm.
But that is definitely something that we want to take note of and make sure that we're being careful with. Anxiety and anger management, sometimes those comorbid disorders like that, you have to be careful with it. So we're definitely thinking about that. But does it definitely help? Just, generally learning to be patient with the puppy, learning to,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And I think more than anything, I think it's just the routine of the puppy
Hmm.
Yeah.
that helps, because that alone, once you kind of have an established routine, and that's again kind of back to that very first conversation we had, about establishing a routine and
Hmm.
getting after that potty training right away,
Yep.
because routine does help kind of settle anxiety and help you learn to be, okay, well, the reason they had an accident, I wasn't on schedule, so therefore it is what it is.
Hmm.
Yeah, so absolutely. Again, I think it really just comes down to kind of that routine.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. Yeah, I could, when I have routine, I'm not stressed out about,
No.
what's going on or what has to be done and
Yeah,
stuff. So yeah, that totally makes sense. And
definitely. And I really like that you mentioned that it can help like teach patience because it really, really does,
yeah,
like outside of like owning a child or like sorry,
owning
having a
owning it.
child. Yeah,
So
outside of
outside of owning a child, go ahead. What was
Yeah.
it?
Clip that for the
yeah,
bloopers right there.
outside of having a child, like there's very few things that like, you know, it they do things and you like you said, you can't really be mad at them because they don't know any better.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, I think that that's a really,
Yeah.
really cool thing.
Cool. Well, continue. You
Yeah.
got the next one.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about pets in apartments and making it work without a backyard. I'm sure that factors into what you do a little bit. So what advice would you give to clients who like want a dog, they want an emotional support animal, but they worry because their living situation isn't suitable, whether they live in a high rise, they don't have a backyard, things like that.
Mhm. Yeah, well, again, that it really comes down to that first, initial intake, talking to them about what does that look like for you? How would that change your life now? What kind of a routine change would we have if this happened? And
Totally.
to be honest with you, I have my little checklist of things and like, okay, well, let's talk about it. If you live in a high rise and what might you need? And to be honest with you, I actually put that product when I learned about it just recently as, hey, here is also something that you could possibly use. There's, of course, you've got to, be after it just like you do with potty training, like you were
Totally.
saying. So there's the element of training to it. There's
Hmm.
the element of cleaning things up too. But there is, an option. So we really kind of do like the pros and cons and see, does this work for you? How could that work? And so I think really it is just individualizing what would work for somebody. Um, but yeah, I threw that in the mix there too, because that's pretty great. I mean, it's always been, tried puppy pads before. And then when I hear them say, well, my dog shreds them. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, mine didn't too. So
Oh, we hear that all the time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely very common.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, that's really cool. So how does maybe like having a little bit getting a little more like fresh patch focused here, like how does having like a reliable, accessible bathroom solution kind of change that mental calculus for apartment owners?
yeah, I mean, if you already don't have if you don't have the animal yet, honestly, I feel like that's like kind of the number one thing you should be thinking
Yeah.
about.
Yep.
Really. I mean, they have to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
And that I feel like that should be like at the top of the list of, do you have a yard? How are you going to take them to the bathroom? Do you have what, resources do you have available where you're at? I feel like that's top tier. I mean, that's the first place that I go. And if somebody's like, no, I'm going to potty train them, but they're going to be in the kennel 7-8 hours until I can get home. Then we're done having the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go into the clinical aspect of it because it's not going to happen. So I would say, honestly, that's like top tier. First thing that you need to really talk about is, what does the space look like for the animal? Where are they going to go to the bathroom?
Yep.
Yeah. I always say too, it's like humans, we're just so mentally, we have a bathroom, you know what I mean? We can go whenever we please, and you got to think about that for your pet, and that's where Fresh Patch does come in as that, hey, it's here, it's natural, and you got that spot for yourselves, just like humans have our spots, So I think that's a great point. Like that should be top of mind. And like, I love that approach too. It's
again,
like, I
don't even continue with the clinical evaluation for that if there's not I talk about the animal first and say, is this even plausible? And that, right, it's top tier. So I don't even go into the assessment further.
Exactly. Why move forward with more information when it's not going to be applicable and stuff?
Definitely.
So
And it's really cool. Like we actually hear from people sometimes, like on social media and things like that. Like, hey, like I didn't think I was gonna get a dog. Like I didn't think I had the opportunity to, just because of my situation, my living situation. But now that I know Fresh Patch is a thing, like I'm more open to it. Or I got that dog and it's going great. Like things like that. So it's really cool to hear.
Yeah, that's always fun to hear. I think there was another one, right? Well,
oh no, that was
the last one.
That was it.
Oh yeah, accessible bathroom solutions. But yeah, no, I love that approach. I think that's just so great. Like, why would we continue to, especially just on the ESA side, you know what I mean? Like, got to think about the main points first, people. So
and I really like that too, for especially because there's a lot of dogs that need homes that are already older, and they would probably just walk in and not already know how to use that because it's grass. I mean, they would just walk in and be like, I'm good to go, versus training the puppy. So I mean, I've done both, so I'm not saying on any level which one, but like, the adoption dogs or Humane Society, stuff like that. A lot of those dogs already know, oh, cool. You walk in and they're like, you already have grass in here. Great. So you might already be done training. You might already be done. Like, it's easier to train with that than it is like the potty pads or the other things. So, definitely something to think about. Puppies, they're puppies.
For sure. Yeah. And we actually like work with a lot of rescues and shelters locally, doing grass donations for, to give them a nice potty spot to go. So, that's another thing with Fresh Patch, is that, again, we work locally. I mean, we'd like to expand eventually, but, just preparing those dogs and teaching them how to pee on Fresh Patch, it kind of opens up possibilities of, oh, maybe they could be an apartment dog. And if you adopt this dog, they'll already know how to use Fresh Patch. So that's another really cool kind of like rewarding thing.
Yeah. And it's really cool to see some breeds that, like you were saying, sometimes puppies don't always take to it, but there are some, we get videos, they're like, he took to it as soon as I opened the box. But it's like, it's because it's real grass. Like, it makes sense. They know what to do.
There you go. Well, and it's something too, I think I wish I would have known about your product months ago, because I had a dog that, and we have a yard, but they, that became diabetic just like overnight.
Wow.
And so we started using potty pads just because they can't get there fast enough. And I was thinking, man, that would have been a great product to have. They've since passed, but that would have been a great product to have, just to also supplement, because, when these dogs get, even though I have a yard, when these dogs get older, have mobility issues, it might be a really nice thing for them to just have right there too, just for the in case moment. So
totally,
definitely. No, that's a great, I love that you just said that. That's huge. I mean, that makes so much sense. So if anybody's listening, you have these situations, and you are hearing similar things. check out freshpatch.com. Check it out. Get in touch, and we'll help you out as best we can. Cool. Going to the last topic of the pod. When a pet is the best medicine. So your experience about what pets do that therapists can't. And the first question is, have you seen cases where a patient's progress shifted significantly after getting a pet?
I've seen it save lives multiple times. I've seen people that said that they would literally not be here, and been in the middle of situations where the pets actually saved their lives. So
Wow.
100%. There's nothing more significant than than saving a life. So absolutely.
Definitely.
Oh,
yeah. That's big. I mean, that's just a win. I wanted to toss my papers after that one. That's all you need to hear right there. So great.
Yeah, I see those. I don't know if you guys have seen those videos of like dogs who are trained to like recognize when their owner's like having a seizure or
Yeah.
like some sort of like medical emergency. Like that always blows my mind.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Those
Yeah.
dogs are incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they're able to put their head underneath their head and stuff, like that just brings even more joy. It's like, gosh, dogs are just amazing creatures, man.
Yeah.
Like they are just
they're unconditional.
Yeah.
It's just
unconditional. Yeah. Like what you said, earlier in the podcast too. It's just your emotion, like they're going to take to you, especially if you're giving them what they want to, and they're bringing the joys that they're looking for. Like it's just going to work out cohesively, it's just a beautiful thing, So, last question, still on that same topic, but what would you say to someone on the fence about getting a dog because they're not sure they're in a good enough place mentally?
Well, first of all, I would say thank you for even considering that. Some people, like you were saying earlier, it can be impulsive.
Yeah.
The fact that you're asking yourself that question, that you're on the fence, that's a good sign.
Gotcha.
It's a good sign that you're thinking, wait, let me figure this out. So what I would say to you is, set down, as cliche as it is, those pros and cons. How would I deal with the bathroom situation? Number one, that's going to be big. That's going to be huge. How would I deal with the bathroom situation? Finances. Like I said, kind of doubling up on that because in having contingency plans, because, dogs get into things, and really, saying, do I have the time, the money, the attention to put into this animal? Answer those questions for yourself. If you're looking at an ESA, work with a clinician that is trained in this. Talk to your doctor or therapist first, but Certipet, we actually know that line of questioning. We are going to take you through that and figure out, is this right for you? What would make more sense? Sometimes I see people switch to, well, I think actually a cat might make more sense. So, figuring out what makes sense for you. But the fact that they're asking that question in the first place, that already makes me happy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I do have one bonus question.
Bonus question round. Bonus round.
So yesterday, we had this crazy thing happen where
this is great.
There was one of our neighbors came up to us and were like, "Hey, like we found this abandoned carrier, and there's this bunny hopping around, and like, we can't catch him, but like keep your eyes open." And we were like, "Oh, let's go catch this thing." So we went out, we got some lettuce, and we kind of enticed it with a little bit of lettuce. And we scooped them up.
Don't they eat for sure?
They munch on the lettuce from time to time. We were told that they're actually not fond of carrots.
Surprising.
Ironically. Yeah. Which is funny.
Yeah,
that's the whole I know that's the whole,
Yeah.
Easter and bunnies and carrots, but no. So
so we're connected to like our local shelter and the head volunteer for like the bunny section of it. So we gave her a call and like, what do we do? And she's like, "Oh, take it to the shelter." And then she's like, "Do you think you'd want to adopt it or foster it?" And I was like, "Oh, wow. Hadn't really thought about that." But yeah, so I'm thinking about fostering this bunny, and I'm wondering if bunnies are part of, what you do, if they would kind of qualify, and like how they could be emotional support animals.
Yeah. So we only through Certipet work with 3 different types of animals: dogs, cats, and rabbits. Just because like other things, like livestock zoning issues, when there was many horses and pigs, and then the exotic animals like monkeys and raccoons and all that stuff. And it just got too much, because it's really hard to prove like, oh, okay, well, having this possum in my house makes me feel better, or this snake makes me feel better. Back in, before 2021 in the Wild West, where you could take an ESA on the plane and they're like, I want to take my snake. And it's like, oh, great, that would make you calm. But then the other 50 people are bringing the freaking plane down because there's a snake.
Don't tell Samuel Jackson that.
Yeah, seriously.
Absolutely not. So, I really put my foot down and I said, I think credibility lends itself to what can we show actually has, like the benefits versus, and also people were like, what about a hedgehog? Well, there's some communicable diseases there. So there's just there's all these different reasons, but that's what we landed on. And with rabbits, there's a lot. First of all, they're very trainable. That really surprised me. There's people that I have clients that jump them, that take them to in their little bitty jumps. And I'm kind of like, I kind of want to get into rabbit jumping, to be honest. I mean, I just was like, okay, that looks pretty fun. I don't know if there's any local rabbit jumping groups, but it looks pretty fun.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, there's, a lot to be said. Rabbits in particular are used a lot in the autistic population.
Oh, really?
Because they're quieter. They're very tactile, because my goodness, I mean, our dogs and cats are soft, but like how it's just, you can't keep your hands off them. And the rabbit enjoys that generally. And so, and then again, they're very trainable, but they're very quiet.
Yep. And
so there is a lot. I mean, I see ESAs for rabbits, in general population as well, but in the autistic population is very helpful.
Oh, that's so interesting. That makes so much sense.
Like where it's a dog or cat can be a little overstimulating, like the rabbits.
Yeah. Makes total sense.
But still provides that interaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's good. It's funny you mentioned that, because we actually did an adoption event a few weeks back, and there was a family there, and they had an autistic child, and they were like, we really want to get a dog or some sort of animal, but they're sensitive to loud noises, so like we don't know how to handle that. And I wish I knew that before, because I could have totally suggested that to them. But that's really good knowledge to have. And I'm really excited to join my local hopping community. So that's something to look forward to.
Seriously, I was like, that's not a thing. And then I start looking them up, and I just got sucked down the rabbit hole, again, pun intended. They have cute harnesses, and they're jumping, and then the ones with the floppy ears, when they jump, it's just like hysterical. I was like, I could totally see going and setting up a lawn chair on the weekend. I'm like, here with my rabbit, ready to do some jumping.
Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It sounds fantastic.
Pretty excited about that. But yeah, thank you for answering that. That was not on the list of questions that we had, but
yeah. No, that's good. I was also, you kind of expanded into too. I was going to ask if you guys do any other pets outside. Yeah. So I'm glad you answered that as well, because I do know of a lot of people with, like you said, back in the wild, wild west, you know, people taking snakes on planes and stuff.
Our coworker wants to adopt a raccoon. So maybe there could be room for
First I've heard of this.
But, yeah. Ooh, Linda.
Don't recommend.
Gotcha.
We'll let her know right after this.
My mom's been feeding a raccoon on the back of her porch. She's like, I named him Ricky Raccoon. I'm like, Mom, stop feeding the raccoon. They will have friends.
Oh yeah.
Stop feeding the raccoon.
Oh yeah.
It's so cute though. I'm like, until he gets hold of you.
I know. I love how they put out their little hands and grab things. It is adorable.
Mm-hmm.
They are so human that it freaks me out.
Yep.
Yeah.
They freak me out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because you can see them, they're smart and they'll figure things out. Like,
Yeah, that's cool. Well, she's kind of. I've always wanted a. I forget the technical term, but I've always wanted a bird of prey, like to be able to.
Like with little gloves.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. I'm like, every time I see those, like the Ojai Raptor Center and stuff, it's so cool. I'm like, man, I'd love to be able to handle.
Oh yeah, my husband has said that before. He's like, how cool would that be? Like, I'm gonna go falconing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Falconry, yeah. It's just,
That's so
like,
funny.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
my irrational pet, I've always wanted a pet bear. I know it'll never happen, but like in my dreams, like
you liked Winnie the Pooh when growing up, huh?
Dude, heck yeah. Winnie the Pooh.
My son has wanted a bobcat.
Ooh,
oh, that's cool.
That's a good one.
He has literally I mean, we have kindergarten pictures where he's drawn bobcats, and this is the bobcat you're going to get us. And I'm like, what's going to happen when this kid goes to college in a few years? We're going to just show up and he'll have a fucking bobcat in his dorm room. Oh my gosh. That is not an emotional support animal. That is not legal, son.
No, that is a predator.
Glad we're putting the distinction in there.
Yeah. Awesome. Yep. Perfect. Well, thanks for going a little off topic with us right there, those bonus question round, but appreciate it. That is all our questions for the podcast. Thank you again, Prairie. This was very awesome. Learned a lot, and yeah, thank you for joining.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love what you guys do. I'm anxious to recommend the product. Honestly, it's one of those things that it really does make it more accessible for more clients when I'm in that first round of questioning. So very cool product.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And for everybody listening or watching, smash that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. Follow at Fresh Patch on all social media, freshpatch.com for all your real grass potty needs, treats, poop bags. We got you covered. And then Prairie, if you want to give a shout out to yours as well one more time.
Yeah, certipet.com. Jump right in.
Certipet.com. You heard it here. So
if you're having problems with your living situation, your landlord, or you just want some more mental health advice and how you can work with your dog, it's an amazing resource. So yeah,
perfect. And
check them out.
Yeah, thank you again, and everybody else, we will see you on the next episode of the Fresh Patch Podcast.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Fresh Patch Podcast, where good pets get it. We hope you enjoyed the show. Give us a like or a follow, and shop all real grass supplies at freshpatch.com.